Good morning, everyone, and once again, welcome to our online class this week. The same thing, our topic this week is about percent. But before that, let's have first your conversation this week.
Thailand. My country. One of the most interesting countries in Southeast Asia is Thailand. Thailand means land of the free. Siam was the former name of Thailand. Buddhism is the national religion. %95 of the population are Buddhists. There are a lot of beautiful Buddhist temples all over Thailand. Many tourists visit my country. Bangkok is the capital of the country. Our national language is Thai. I am proud to be a Thai. I love my country.
Okay, are you ready for our vocabulary? Okay, please follow after me. Okay, I will read it first and then follow after me. Numerator. Next, convert. Fraction. Percent. Denominator. Percentage. Equivalent. One more time. Numerator. Convert. Fraction. Percent. Numerator. Percentage. Equivalent. Can you read it again? Our topic this morning is about percentage of a number. But before that, let's have first a review. What is a percent? So a word percent means per 100. We often use percent to describe a part of a whole. For example, 75% means 75 out of 100. 14% means 14 out of 100. The diagram below has a few examples of commonly used percent. So 0%, so percent equals to per 100. So 0% is 0 over 100. 25% will be 25 over 100. 50% will be 50 over 100. And 100% will be 100 over 100. Percentage of a number. Let's say you took a test with 100 questions. If you scored an 80% on the test, what does that mean? 18% means 80 out of 100. So an 80% on a test with 100 questions means you got 80 score out of the total of 100. Or it will be 80% is equal to 80 over 100. It's pretty easy to find the percentage of a number if the total is already out of 100. Let's say you ended up with exactly 100 pieces of candy after Halloween. If 62% of the candy is chocolate, what does that mean? 62% means 62 out of 100. If you have 100 pieces of candy total, then 62 of those are chocolate. So we can say it that 62% is equals to 62 over 100. What you've just done is called finding the percent of a number. This way, a pretty simple case where the total was out of 100. So 62% out of 100 is just 62. Just like 62 of 100 is equals to 62, which is 62 of 100 pieces of candy are chocolate. Here's another example when a total is out of 100. Let's say 100 students took a survey. If only 20% of the students said they like to wake up early, how many students is that? So 20% means 20 out of 100. So 20 of the students said they like to wake up early. In other words, 20% of 100 is just 20. So just like in our illustration below, 20% of 100 is equals to 20, which is 20 of the 100 students like to wake up early. So, what do you do if the total isn't out of 100? What if only 50 students took the survey? How could you find 20% of 50? It's not quite as simple as the two examples that we have above. But you can still find the percent of a number even when the total isn't out of 100. There's more than one way to do it. We'll look at two different ways in this lesson and you can use whichever one seems easiest to you. The first method, using a proportion to find the percent of a number. So a percent is out of 100. So what you do if the total isn't 100? One way to find a percent of a number is to use a proportion. A proportion is basically allows us to change the problem so the total is out of 100. Remember, a percent is really just a fraction. It's how many you have out of 100. If you have a total that isn't 100, you can solve the proportion to figure out the percent of a number, just like part over a whole is equals to percent over 100. Let's say you got a 90% on a test. If the test had 100 questions, this would mean that you got 90 correct out of 100. What if the test is only had 20 questions? How many did you get right? We need to find 90% of 20. We can set this up as a proportion. What number out of 20 is the same as 90 out of 100? Just like in our illustration here. Part will be x over the whole, which is 20. That x we don't know, but the whole, that will be the total number of the question, which is 20. is equals to 90% change into fraction, that will be 90 over 100. So 90% is out of 100. There's more than one way to solve a proportion. One easy way to solve a proportion is cross multiply. So that will be 100x is equals to 90 times 20. So that will be 100x over 100 is equals to 1,800 over 100. Both sides, divide both sides by 100. So that will be x is equals to what? 18. This means that 90% of 20 is equals to 18. Another way to say this is if you get 18 out of 20, write on a quiz, you got 90% of the questions correct. You can double check this by changing fraction 18 over 20 to a decimal. Example number 1. Find 70% of 40. Pretend we just surveyed 40 people of 70% of them said that pizza is their favorite food. We had surveyed 100 people total. That would mean 70 out of 100 chose pizza. But we only surveyed 40, not 100. We can use a proportion to figure out how many people out of 40 would be the same as 70 out of 100. So this will be your method. X over 40 is equals to 70 over 100. What number out of 40 is the same as 70 out of 100? So the hardest part is setting up the proportion. Now we can cross multiply to find the answer. So 100x, x times 100, right? That will become 100x. And 40 times 70, that will be cross multiplied. So this is how you do it. 100x over 100 is equals to 2,800 over 100. Then divide both sides by 100. Then 100 divided by 2,800, that will be equal to 28. So this means that 70% of 40 is equals to 28. Another way to say this is that 28 out of 40 is the same as 70 out of 100. Example number 2. Find 24% of 50. Let's say we ended up with 150 pieces of candy after Halloween and 24% have chocolate in them. If you had exactly 100 pieces, 24% of 100 would be 24 pieces. So, if you increase the total to 150, what would 24% of that be? You can use a proportion to set this up. How many pieces out of 150 is the same as 24 out of 100? So x over 150 is equals to 24 over 100. What number out of 150 is the same as 24 out of 100? Now, you can cross multiply to find the answer. That will be 100x is equals to 24 times 150. So 100x equals to 3,600. Divide by 100, that will be over 100 over 100. And then x will be equals to 36. This means that 24% of 150 is 36. Another way to say this is that 36 out of 150 total is the same as 24 out of 100. You can double check this by changing the fraction to 36 over 150 to a percent and make sure it comes out to 24%. Understand, that is easy. That is one method. We use proportion. Now, let's look at the different method that you can use or you can be used to find the percent of a number. The second method is multiplying by a decimal to find the percent of a number. If we look back at how we solved the last few problems with the proportion method, we can start to see a pattern. Did you notice that each time we multiply the two numbers together and then divide by 100? So like for example, x over 150 is equals to 24 over 100. So 100x is equals to 24 times 150. So 24% of 150. If we multiply 24 and 150 together and then divide by 100, the answer will be 36. So we ended up dividing by 100 each time because percents are always out of 100. If you set up a proportion to find a percent of a number, you always end up dividing by 100 in the end. Another way to get the same answer is to divide by 100 first and then multiply the numbers together. Like 24 over 100 is equals to 0.24 and 0.24 times 150 is 36. This is the same answer we got by cross-multiplying. Most people prefer this method by setting up a proportion because it's a little bit faster. But you can choose to find the percent of a number either way. Both methods result in the same answer. When you divide a percent by 100, you're just changing it to the decimal. Remember, dividing by 100 just move the decimal over 2 places to the left. So these are the steps you need to follow when you are getting a percentage of a number using a decimal. Step 1, change the percent to a decimal. Step 2, multiply. Remember that a percent is always out of 100. To change a percent to a decimal, you just need to divide it by 100. This will move the decimal over 2 places to the left. For example, 5% is the same as 5 over 100. This becomes 0.05 as decimal. 82% is the same as 82 over 100, which is 0.82 as decimal. So, let's have here an example. Example number 1. Find 32% of 75. We will use the second method. Step 1, change 32% to a decimal. So 32% is the same as 32 over 100. So which is, it will be 0.32 as a decimal. Step 2, multiply. 0.32 times 75 is equals to what? 24. So this means that 32% of 75 is 24. Is it easy, right? Let's have another example. Example number 2. Find 8% of 250. Step 1, change 8% into a decimal. So 8% into decimal is equal to what? 0.08. Step 2, multiply. 0.08 times 250. That will be equal to what? 20. So this means that 80% of 250 is 20. Okay, last example. Example number 3. Find 45% of 75. Step 1, change 45% to what? To decimal. So 45% is the same as 45 over 100 in fraction, which will be 0.45 as a decimal. Then step 2, multiply. 0.45 times 75. That will be equal to what? 33.75. This means that 45% of 75 is 33.75. Be extra careful when the percent is less than 10%. A common mistake on this problem is to accidentally write 8% as 0.8 instead of 0.08. If you see 0.8 on accident, if you used 0.8 on accident, you might find 80%, not 8%. Always think about the reasonableness of your answer. 8% means 8 out of every 100. That's not very much, so we should have expected a small number in comparison of the total of 250. Now that you've seen two different ways to solve a proportion, it's up to you which method you would like to use. But always remember that both methods will result in the same answer if you do it correctly. So, if you don't have any question about this, let's try. I'll give you a test. All you have to do is answer the following question and write your answer only. Either the two method, it's okay. So this one, test your understanding. Find the percentage of the following quantity. So I'll give you time to do it. So I think 10 minutes is okay. And then after 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we will check your answer. So you can do it now. finished? Okay, let's check your answer. If you're not yet finished, you can go back, you pause for a while. If not, okay, let's check your answer. Be honest. So these are the answer for number 1. 28% of 50 is 14. Number 2, 16% of 250 is 4. 3, 15% of 300 is 45. 4, 7% of 400 is 28. Next, 31% of 720 is 83.7. Next, 16% of 240 is 38.4. Next, number 7, 24% of 89 is 21.36. Number 8, 52% of 63 is 32.76. Number 9, 29% of 56 kilogram is 16.24 kilogram. Number 10, 37% of 7 is 2.59. Number 11, 69% of 2 meter is equals to 1.38 meter. And the last, number 12, 12% of 170 centimeter is 20.4 centimeter. Okay, is there any question? Understand? Okay, very good. In summary of our lesson, so to find 30% is what we have to do. So all you have to do is change 30% into fraction. So we can find 30% by dividing by 10. 10 multiplied by 3. So 70 divided 10 is 7. And 7 times 3 is 21. Another example, 40% of 90 is 36. So what you do, 40 over 100 divide by 10. That will be equal to 90 divided by 10. That will be 9. And 9 times 4 is what? 36. To make it more easier, percent of a number, what is 35% of 80? First, change 35 into what? Fraction, that will be 35 over 100 times 80, that will be 28. Or change 35% into decimal, that will be 0.35, multiplied by 80, that will be 28. So which means either of the two method or any of the method that I already taught you how to do it, you can do it. And if you do it correctly, you can still get the same answer or the correct answer. Now, if you have your book with you, please finish our exercises, pages 114, 115, 116, and 117. If you come back here next week, we will check it, and I want to see if you really understand the lesson or not. Don't forget your lessons, and let's continue next meeting. So that's all for today. Hope you learned a lot. See you again next time. Keep safe, everyone. Bye.